Sophie Rain is officially the highest-earning creator on the Blue site, but new evidence suggests the $43 million she reportedly brought in last year might be built on a digital lie. For months, the narrative across social media has been that Sophie is a once-in-a-generation success story, a 21-year-old from Florida who managed to out-earn household names like Iggy Azalea and Amaranth in record time. The reality, according to leaked internal documents from her management agency, is far less personal. We are diving into the receipts that show a sophisticated operation of artificial intelligence and high-stakes financial manipulation that is now threatening to collapse her empire. In this investigation, we will answer three critical questions. First, were the fans who spent thousands of dollars actually talking to Sophie or a computer program? Second, how did an unknown creator bypass the industry's biggest stars so quickly? And third, is the platform preparing a permanent ban that could reset the entire industry? To understand the scale of this situation, we have to look at the common belief. Most fans assume that when they hit the subscribe button and send a direct message, there is a real person on the other end. In the case of Sophie Rain, the expectation was a direct line to a viral sensation. However, the contrarian reality is that we are witnessing the industrialization of intimacy. According to financial records leaked on January 15, 2026, Sophie's account isn't just a profile, it is a corporate entity managed by a rotating team of 24-hour chatters and a customized artificial intelligence model. This isn't just about efficiency, it is about a multi-million-dollar business model that views the audience as data points rather than people. We have the internal logs, the agency contracts, and the timeline contradictions that prove the girl in the viral videos is often the last person to know what is being said in her own inbox. Before we get to the most shocking evidence involving the artificial intelligence logs, we need to address how she grew so fast. Per a report from Industry Insider on December 10, 2025, Sophie Rain's rise was not organic. It was the result of a coordinated campaign by a new wave of agencies using what is known as the relink strategy. Instead of relying on one viral moment, these agencies use hundreds of ghost accounts across TikTok and X to flood the algorithm with curated clips. According to industry analysis from early 2026, Sophie's management team reportedly spent upwards of $50,000 a month just on traffic acquisition. The expectation was that she was a viral sensation. The reality was that she was a highly funded marketing project. This explains how she surpassed stars who have been building their brands for a decade. While veterans were focusing on live streaming and personal brand longevity, the Sophie Rain project was designed for maximum short-term revenue through aggressive, automated funneling. This leads us to the most shocking piece of evidence discovered so far, the leaked AI prompt logs, which began circulating in the industry around February 10, 2026. This is where the story shifts from aggressive marketing to potential consumer fraud. While the industry has been buzzing about digital twins for months, the specific logs attributed to Sophie's management team show a level of manipulation that has left even seasoned professionals stunned. The logs showed that the management team wasn't just using AI to help with grammar, they had programmed a specific personality matrix titled the Florida Girl. This program was instructed to reference specific weather patterns in Miami and pretend to be tired from recent photo shoots that Sophie hadn't even attended. According to an unverified insider who spoke out on February 11th, the AI was so advanced it could analyze a fan's previous spending habits and tailor its emotional response to trigger a higher tip. If a fan mentioned a recent promotion at work, the bot was allegedly programmed to offer a celebratory exclusive clip for a specific price point, all without Sophie ever seeing the message. This level of automated deception is what allowed her to scale to $43 million but it's also the very thing that could be her legal undoing. The most immediate sign that this model was failing came not from a leak, but from a massive financial earthquake. According to a report by Vendo Services on February 12, 2026, a wave of chargebacks totaling over $2 million hit Sophie's account in a single week. These weren't just casual subscribers asking for their $10 back. These were the so-called whales, the top 0.01% of spenders who drop 5 figures on a single creator. Per the communications from early February, these high rollers claimed they were lured into spending massive amounts on what they believed were private one-on-one sessions, only to discover the responses were generated by a digital twin. When a creator makes $43 million in a year, the margin for error is razor thin, and this refund wave is the first time we've seen the cracks in the armor. It turns out the expectation of a personal connection was the product, but the reality was a high-speed data operation designed to maximize extraction. Now we must look at who's actually keeping that $43 million. According to leaked contract details from late 2025, the split between Sophie and her agency is much more lopsided than fans realize. While the headline number is $43 million, typical agency contracts in this high-growth niche can take up to 50 or even 60% of the gross revenue from management and technology fees. Per the documents, after the platform takes their 20% cut and the agency takes their share, Sophie might be walking away with less than $15 million of that original total. While that is still a staggering amount of money, it changes the perception of her as an independent mogul. It suggests she's more of a featured performer in a corporate structure that owns the technology behind her voice. This is the hidden reality of the modern industry. The creator is often just the face of a much larger machine that controls the narrative, the messages, and the bank account. This corporate structure is now facing a massive legal hurdle that could end the Sophie Rain era overnight. The Blue site has recently come under intense pressure from payment processors like Visa and MasterCard. According to a report on the VAMP constraint system released on February 9, 2026, platforms are now being forced to crack down on any activity that leads to high dispute rates. The $2 million in refunds we discussed earlier isn't just a loss for Sophie, it's a red flag for the banks. If the platform is found to be hosting AI-driven deception that leads to mass consumer fraud, they risk losing their ability to process credit cards entirely. Per industry experts, this is why we are seeing a sudden shift in policy. The platform allegedly issued a private warning to several top-tier agencies in early February, stating that the use of digital twins without explicit disclosure will result in an immediate and permanent ban. Sophie Rain is currently the poster child of this tension. If she is banned, it won't just be the end of her career, it will be the signal that the era of the anonymous AI agency is over. We also have to consider the psychological impact of this business model on the audience and the industry at large. When a creator scales this quickly using automation, it creates a distorted reality for every other person working in the spicy content space. According to a study published by Creator Metrics in January 2026, the average creator is now seeing their engagement drop because the expectations of the fans have been artificially inflated by AI-driven accounts that never sleep and never stop messaging. The reality is that a human being cannot compete with a machine programmed to be the perfect companion 24 hours a day. This has led to a burnout crisis among independent creators who feel they have to work impossible hours just to keep up with the Sophie Rain standard of responsiveness. Per the logs, Sophie's account was sending an average of 400 messages an hour during peak times. No human, no matter how dedicated, can maintain that level of output. Furthermore, the timeline contradictions in Sophie's public appearances versus her account activity have become impossible to ignore. According to a timeline analysis performed by digital forensics experts on February 5, 2026, Sophie was documented as being on a transatlantic flight with no Wi-Fi at the exact same time her account was engaged in high-stakes tip baiting with 3 different fans. While her agency claimed this was just a scheduled post, the nature of the messages was reactive, answering specific questions about her current surroundings that she couldn't have known. This is the receipt that many fans point to as the smoking gun. It proves that the person they were paying to talk to was a ghost, according to a public statement from a representative associated with the agency on February 13th. They deny any wrongdoing, claiming that all messaging is overseen by human moderators and the AI is merely a tool for efficiency. However, the contradiction between this statement and the technical reality of the message logs continues to fuel the fire. The industry fallout has been swift and unforgiving. Several high-profile collaborators who previously appeared in videos with Sophie have reportedly distanced themselves from her brand. Per reports from industry news outlets on February 14th, at least 3 major creators have sent cease and desist letters to Sophie's management, demanding that their likeness no longer be used in promotional material for her account. They fear that if Sophie is hit with a fraud investigation or a permanent platform ban, their own accounts could be flagged by association. According to social media metrics from the last 48 hours, her subscriber count has begun to dip for the first time since her meteoric rise began.
This is the tipping point where the clout of being associated with the #1 earner becomes a liability. What we are seeing is the birth and potentially the death of the corporate creator. The expectation was that the internet would allow for more direct, honest connections between performers and their fans. The reality is that the higher the stakes get, the more likely those connections are to be mediated by technology and middlemen. Sophie Rain's $43 million year should have been a celebration of her success, but instead, it has become a case study in the dangers of the digital twin era. If fans cannot trust that they are talking to the person they are paying, the entire economic foundation of the Blue site begins to crumble. Per an industry insider's report from yesterday, the platform is currently reviewing the metadata of every account, making over $1 million a month to look for signs of similar AI automation. In summary, the Sophie Rain story is the ultimate example of the new industry reality. Technology can build a superstar overnight, but it can also destroy them just as quickly. We've seen how $43 million can be generated through sophisticated AI prompts and aggressive marketing, but we've also seen how $2 million in refunds can trigger a systemic collapse. Sophie's career currently sits at a crossroads between being the most successful creator in history and the biggest cautionary tale of the digital age. The industry is watching closely because the outcome of this scandal will determine the rules for everyone else. Is the personal connection of the Blue site dead, or is it the only thing that can actually save it? The implications of this reach far beyond one creator. If the banks decide that this industry is too high risk due to AI deception, we could see a return to the days of extreme censorship and platform instability. According to analysts, the next 6 months will be a cleansing period, where agencies are forced to choose between massive profits through automation or long-term sustainability through transparency. Sophie Rain may have been the first to hit these heights using these methods, but she certainly won't be the last unless the platform enforces the rules. To truly understand the mechanics of this game and how the world's top creators are being managed behind the scenes, you need to see the bigger picture. You need to know the secrets they don't want the subscribers to find out. Make sure you click into the Velvet Rope Industry Secrets playlist to see exactly how the top 1% are manipulating the algorithm and their fans to stay at the top of the leaderboard. This is just the beginning of the exposure, and if you want to stay ahead of the game, you need to know how the players are moving.